talk about today the different ways that man can acknowledge the realities of his ideas. And what that means is that at first we are confused, we are torn apart in our confusion, and we feel that we are the creators of our isolation, even though we do not want to acknowledge our fears. But our fears are not things that, are lost. We see that which we fear is that which has defined our safety. We see that our sense of change has given us an ability to be more than we have to be. As we see that we do not term things, we do not give them names, for names suggest a structure which the unstructured don't need. Understand that you are the presence that is present. When you look at your ideas, you see that you are at first defining how you're receiving their shape. In other words, every form that you see in your mind's eye, in your imagination, in your sense of wherever your ideas sleep at night, you see that man's mind first acknowledges his abstract process of awareness as thought. And in that he has accepted a linear form, because linear forms had been able to create his face. So when we see that the storyteller begins to really experience the eyes of the character who has lost all hope and is about to dissolve into the story, we see at the end of ends the death that this cycle of existence has gone, every other moment shall go too. And so, in what was many, the one has been true. Because now is a time, and I don't know if I'm the first one, but perhaps I am the first one to speak of it, for it to enter in your ear. You see, we are understanding our sense of presence first through our physicality, and it is good that our physicality is doubting where it is, because our physicality, when it doubts itself, it seeks and it looks through its greatest inspiration, so its most creative state of being. And so we are pushing mankind beyond his limitation. And how we do that is by realizing that once we tackle our fear, and we do not wait for our fears, we go and meet our fears. We do not let fear come to us when life throws us in a situation. We dive through love and allow every moment where we have done wrong or we have been wrong to be forgiven by the light of that which has even brought conception into being. Understand that through the abstract process, man has, in a sense, understood the emptiness of his consciousness. You know that there's a sense of awareness through emptiness, through silence, through stillness, through being. You have felt the life that is traveling within your wings, within your breath. And the wind always blows, and you see that the lights that we seek are simply the next change that will inspire us. Begin, my friends, pinpointing your immediate thoughts and allowing them to teach you by you becoming an observance. Because the observer is never the object of observance. So you are not trapped in the illusion once you see that it is completely elusive. Once you accept that you could never accept. You were born in many ways that met the one. And so the coin was flipped and chance turned into change. But as the coin came back, the palm of man held his hand and recognized that once our spectrum of separation has learned of its infinite ability to break itself, once it has reached the end of ends, it will seek the greatest vision, and in a sense is gifted with the greatest vision of being, the greatest beginning of feeling, that sense of knowing. You need to appreciate your knowing, guys, because many people think they're their thoughts. But I'm going to simplify this, and in a sense I'm going to tell you through the poet's madness comes a very beautiful and chaotic statement. That, in a sense, my friends, as there's a beautiful ancient quote, which has come through the mystic's eyes to meet man. Be in the world, but not of it. And in a sense what that means is that immerse yourself in the beauty of existing, in the beauty of being alive, the same joy and presence and harmony you see in the bird on the branch, see it within yourself. See yourself learning from all the moments of your being. See yourself not fallen. See yourself not punished or in a state of being able to sin, but see that your greatest symbols are calling you to your greatest self. You need to see that your sense of allowance is one that wants to be playful, and you must be playful too. You will see that consciousness is not one that wants to be spoken about, but it's always there. It's with you. And so if your knowing begins to see that form has turned into blessings, vibrations turn into collisions where stargates have always shined through the imagination of the child who saw the DVD cover of Star Trek. You do not see that your thoughts become mere presences, that in a sense life is bestowed by the mere appreciation of its intelligence. For the creator, once it has created something, it appreciates it, it knows where it has come from. Once that you see that your cause and effect are ready to meet, the instant moment has began, and so enlightenment has continued. And so no sage could ever tell you what the silence can. For the silence of your being is a place of great wonder. It is where the great pilot navigates. It is where the skies call for man's greater opening past any cloud. You need to allow the technologies that you seek, that are missing in a sense in your life, to come. You're a smart person because I know you are one, because I know you are one. Because I know that your being is experiencing its humanity. And once your humanity becomes aware of its sense of being, there is an allowance you will give yourself, in which you see it is a playful freedom, in which the program no longer needs the programmer. You need to allow life to teach you some things that are outside of your comfort zone. And so you see your intuition at times is the opposite of your comfort zone. Because your comfort zone is based on how much you can be aware of things, based on your preference of linear, knowing. You have chosen logical contexts, But what does non-linear mean? And what does linear mean in a sense? I guess I can tell you, linear is me planning my day and knowing what I'm going to do every second based on a schedule, based on a routine, which I do not even feel it's a routine. I feel it's a struggle. Once frustration has confronted me, I will see that I needed that judgment day. I needed that intervention. I needed that slap from life to tell me, child, you're not a child. You're the emanation of the cosmos. You are your greatest collective looking through its most blessed individuation. Intuition means that instead of planning your day, you run outside and you begin looking at life, and you allow many experiences in a multidimensional way to be present within your awareness. The awareness of man is continuous in the sense that it does not end, but it ends when it chooses to go through an experience of an end. And what that means is that in a holographic reality, if the hologram is molded, is pushed to a certain way, we shall see color even bending. We shall see light changing. We shall see reality looking at itself. Because one question which the creation could never ask who is the creator when I also am? And the creator will ask of itself, why, O dear might? Why my greatest greatness? Why have you molded me into the King of kings of men? And as this idea comes within the story of a king of old, we see that we are not bothered by the past or the future, but the present seems to intrude if we are not willing. I have learned that the greatest blessing in regards to how you can handle any sense of technology, and what I mean by that is your sense of becoming aware of yourself in ways where light finds itself clearing itself, where you see your thoughts are pure because they were always pure. You see that the concept of a pure thought was left untouched. You will see that your mind has the strength to break any wall. You see that your past begins to distract you. It begins to shape how your present needs to be. You see that your loved ones are beside you, but anger has begun to speak. You must look within how you are within a sense of improv, within a sense of now, within a sense of not knowing, but the knowing begins to be expressed. When you have allowed yourself released, you have no judgment to care. When you are stressed, you are missing a sense of self-awareness, and that means that you are agitated. You must calm your life by slowing down. You must breathe and feel who is breathing. You must ask deep questions that make you chase outside of anything that's giving you an immediate answer. My friends, my beloved beings, before we become the greatest experience of humanity as each being has come here to be, we are alive as existence. We are life. And so the acknowledgement of thought has two directions into becoming still. In the sense that a path to an enlightened view begins with stopping things and by becoming completely still. As you silence the mind, perhaps as you have heard through meditation and many other practices of prayer and devotion and natural appreciation of a life. You see that the spectrum continues. And you need to confront the other side. As the volcano erupts, you will feel that you're in a sense initiated to any spectrum in which you conceive. You see, words are like mirrors. So see that when I am speaking, I am showing self-reflectively that we are enlightened beings out of our language. It is that language is defining an unenlightened self because the circumstances are giving that immediate communication. What that means is that objects and walls and the experience of space and time doesn't immediately tell you this, but your consciousness is activated through an idea. So, for example, imagine me as Mr.Within. But I have a certain physicality that is kind of nameless. It doesn't need names unless sound is involved. So in a sense, as one path is through silence and the other path is through the most dynamic action, from the loudest shout to the loudest roar to the loudest echo to the loudest voice, the infinity of the cosmos will remind you that there is a twist, that at the end of each spectrum, the confrontation of both is the greater observance. It is your path. You must let your sense of devotion become an allowance, a sense of protection. You are a devout person, not in an idea, not to a certain regime or certain shape. You look at life and you see a light that cannot change in infinite change. And what that means is that the paradox of reality begins to show you that man may have been conceived individually, but he is to die collectively, so that the moment of death comes, the being has appreciated life enough to see that the infinity in the different realities that are connected to ideas. Because my friends, when I say pain, you may feel all the times that you have fallen again and again. But you see that the inspiration of man is with a mirror. I do not give you a story, but I give you who you are. I show you through the mirror of life that, my friend, you're not your suffering, but the joy that transcends. Different realities require a sense of navigation, in the sense that you see that when you're in that subtler daydream-like state where your creativity is being aligned by a sense of flow, so you see that you have a natural rhythm in how you're expressing your ideas, and the knowing is not linear. So what that means is you're doing something which is so new to a part of you, but is so ancient, and the memory for another sense of you. And you see the multiple layers of how consciousness is being conscious of itself. So you see that every shape has its own unique consciousness because it adds to the design that you have. So the awareness of consciousness is being done by the self. And what that means is that you must see what the self is covered with. And usually we have a lot of jackets on, the ego, words, language, anything that you can explain. If you see a man who wants you to tell a truth that he can write down, then what truth, or in a sense, what man is ignoring the truth of the horizon? Many people seek books, but the wisdom of life is one that needs no location. What that means is that as you walk, perhaps in the strangest bookstore that you will ever go, you will trust and continue and pick up the book that you must, even if your eyes are closed. And you will pick that page that is called to you. The numbers that have entered your heart will sing to you. You will see that as that page opens, synchronicity has smiled. And what I mean by love and life, or alignment, is alive. So in a sense, guys, focus on your ability to be authentic, because authenticity means you gotta accept some level of sensitivity. I mean, you can try to act tough as much as you want, but you need to acknowledge everything, because a pilot knows he needs to be able to confront many different elevations. And so life does have many different elevations. Not every act is the same. You feel it. You feel it when you're miserable because something in you tells you that I must change. And even when you have received every satisfaction, and when you are satisfied, even if you are simply alive, you will see the human form can never be satisfied, because that is evolution. The monkey can never be satisfied of the monkey because its ideas are changing into man. And so as mankind walks into a greater eternity, consciousness becomes no longer a system of evolution, because it becomes an originator of space and time, able to become observant of many forms of its own conception. So you see, many people think that you need to experience different senses of dimensions of being through the idea of you here going to that dimension. It's actually, I am saying my experience at least, is not Mr. Within's experiences. It's not like that. Mr. Within's ideas are very simple in the sense that they say, okay, don't go for it with curiosity. What that means is that be authentic, so be real. So in other words, if you suddenly don't believe something about it, if you think something is like, don't act. You know what I mean? Be authentic, be real, and understand that it's in a sense one lifetime. What that means is that don't let your moments of the past make your moment of the present heavy. You want to have a reception of the present that is allowing you to have a multidimensional experience of all these different realities that originate with your attention. You see, any definition that man has created was simply an ability for him to see himself in that way. But we are more than the definitions when we know there is an intelligence that uses words. So in other words, the words on their own, if there never was man or a voice to read them, may feel that they're meaningless or lost. But once someone has come to read the words, there's a sense of self-awareness. There's a sense of devotion. We are at a point where our attraction is our distraction, but at the same time, our ability to observe anything is our freedom of the object of observance and the observer into the moment. So you see, after I have spoken my purpose, and let's say the ears that I was supposed to meet have, in a sense, shown me that I have completed my task. I see that my sense of purpose was my own. My sense of name, shape, form was my own. I see that reality was too my friend, because my friend was made of my values, because I put in meaning in life, and that is how life became full. Because you see that you're not fulfilled by the sense that you have. You do not want to be someone who holds on to the temporal to see that the whole time they were walking, there was no need to carry that much weight. A lighter sense of passage means the experience you get increases. So you see an intuitive person, someone who's in a greater creative state of being, in a sense, their physicality alters because they are constantly put in a sense of contributing. When you contribute, when you give, when you're compassionate, when you're creative, when you produce something out of the alchemy of your moment, you see that it's very fascinating. There is an order that is made of chaos, and through that you see, on some level, when you try to explore your internal realities, they're simply that. They're shaped views which you have put meaning to. But as you dive deep into the images that were meaningful, in a sense, they become meaningless, because your attention is seeking something that is not there. So when man seeks something that is not there, we begin to say, there seems to be a greater sense of intelligence present. And what that means is that man's immediate body at this time, and for a little bit more, is going to be this shape of, the evolved ape. We're going to have hands, legs, feet, and we're going to feel more infinite through our internal cellular bodies, which are our thoughts. That is our gateway to God, in a sense, because that is the intermediary in how the energy of the cosmos is being expressed through us. Once you see that you have many senses of self, you see that there are many ways that you can perceive any relationship. Once all the mirrors have faced each other, they have dissolved into the light that is meaningless, but full of meaning because it has given others meaning. You are an emanation of that which you can integratively embrace. I am simply a man and this is my voice. But once you see that you're willing to trust life, when that intuition comes knocking the next time, you will hug it. You will say, I am here to listen. I am here to listen to love. I am here to listen to eternity. For every great prophet knows that there never was a prophet when the God above was everything. Much blessings and namaste.